Hello everyone, welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I'm so happy to have you here. We are going to dive right into your reading here. What messages do we have for Pisces? What does Pisces need to know right now for Pisces? Okay, Pisces, this is giving me an energy of things kind of taking as long as they take. There's kind of a singular point of focus right here with the clear quartz. And ironically, I mean, this is giving me an energy of like trying to think something through, trying to work through a problem, trying to find a solution. And oftentimes that energy leads to like deeper confusion. And quartz is a stone that, what is it? That I'm looking for, the word magnifies is like what's coming to me, but it's not that. Frequency, right? We have liquid crystal television, you know, LCD display or whatever. It like, it passes through that and it becomes bigger. Maybe it is magnifies, I don't know. And quartz is said to do that also for our intuition and to help like really guide us very clearly. I put this quartz on my third eye all the time to like, especially when I'm struggling to come up with an, you know, like when my mind is really working and I'm looking for a solution and I realize that I'm looking outside myself for the solution and I know I need to go inward, or I know I need to like quiet all of that, and I'm having a really hard time doing that, and I'm kind of spinning my wheels and getting more confused and frustrated, I'll take this quartz. I think this quartz is perfect. And I just put it on my third eye. And first of all, it's usually cold. And the like sense, you know, connecting with our senses helps bring us to the present moment. So that coldness will sometimes help just shut down my monkey mind, that mind that's really seeking and searching for an answer. But it intensifies, like, you know, that voice, our intuitive voice, our power to, you know, find it from within, you know. And sometimes the answer comes more by looking at how we're feeling, you know, what, like, vulnerable because we don't have a position, or vulnerable because, you know, we feel like our heart is on the line, or vulnerable, you know, it's usually a matter of vulnerability and that need to try to make ourselves feel safe and secure that this comes from. And oftentimes that usually we feel like it comes from answers. And so we start seeking answers. And a lot of times it comes with just calming ourselves on the inside, soothing ourselves on the inside, and trusting that the answer will come when the answer is supposed to come. You know, we can, you know, connect to our spirit guides. We can, you know, and ask them for answers, or ask them for guidance, or ask them to be led, or, you know, to help us. But oftentimes the answer comes when you let go, when you surrender, when you release. You have this energy of better with time. And so this is giving me like patience pays off in this case. You know, when you can kind of soothe yourself, or when you can kind of, you know, be more patient, then it may lead to multiple choices, like, where you can kind of get everything out in front of you, and you're not just kind of leaping or jumping at the first thing that comes to you, because it will help you feel more secure or more safe. This is like, you know, going to lead you in a positive direction, up. It's going to take you in an upward direction. But again, even the Amalite, it is that symbol of, I have Amalite around here somewhere, but it is that symbol of kind of going within to find the answers. And the better with time is just giving me like patience really pays off. Either the solution that comes or the thing that comes is really worth the wait. It is like a dream come true kind of scenario, or you have more things to choose between. Like you can really hone in exactly what you want because it's all available to you. It's all out in front of you. And then you have first the fire with Larimar energy. And, you know, this is giving me like, this is all leading to this creative energy. It is all leading to something that you deeply desire, something that you are going to connect with in a very like passionate way. So, you know, if it's a job or if it's a career or if it's, you know, a place to live or, you know, a person, a soulmate, this is something that it's like you are going to be very driven. You are going to be very passionate. It is going to spark or light a fire within you that drives you toward almost like a bigger picture or a deeper level win. This is a battle you with you, Pisces. It feels so much more you with you than it feels like you and the external. I feel a little bit like there's this desire to make it about the external, or the desire to find something that makes me feel better in the external. But the answer really seems to be, you know, it will reveal itself. And so it's not trying to find it, it's allowing it to come to you, attracting it to you, you know? And then you have this step up to sovereignty. And this is like, hello, Empress energy, you know? Once you get here, the whole world is kind of at your feet. All right, so let's see. Yeah, I don't know what. Okay. Guys, I don't know what this is. It feels a little internally chaotic, if I'm being totally honest with you. I mean, this could be your person or this could be someone around you, but I don't know. For a lot of you, it's just giving me a bit of, it is giving me a Pisces vibe. So I don't know. It's kind of like taking something and internalizing it in a deep way when it's really something that just has to work out in its own time. You know, all the processing in the world, all the, you know, focus and confusion and overthinking and, you know, almost at the same time, then the feeling of needing to get away from it because it's too intense or it makes you feel too vulnerable or too exposed or whatever. It's like, it's sort of like feeding on each other, like on itself kind of energy. And it feels pretty unproductive and extremely draining, okay? You have mentally exhausted here. You do have like seeking spiritual advice, which is kind of giving me just like to kind of turn off the brain, just turn off the thinking. And I know it's hard, you know, I know that it's not easy. I have to do it myself, right? And I'm an air sign. Not that that's like more intense, but it you know, we are known for overthinking. I feel like, you know, it's kind of like surrendering. It's kind of like, is the answer. Do you know what I mean? There's not a good, you know, I can't say, you know, well, if you just do this, this, and this, then you'll get your result. And nobody can really give you that. No external thing can say, okay, here you go. You know, it's one of those things where things are aligning, and it does require patience. So this energy of seeking spiritual advice, it feels almost as if you just need a nudge to be reminded to just breathe and to relax. You know, the more and more uncomfortable we feel, the more and more important it is to relax. Because that energy of feeling uncomfortable feeds on itself, and the discomfort intensifies and grows, and then it spills over into other aspects of our life, and we don't want that to happen. So the best thing to do is kind of do what you need to do to relax, which oftentimes is really asking ourselves the question, where is this coming from? You know, what can I do about it? Am I doing everything I can? If I'm doing everything I can, then there's nothing else I can do. So now I just need to kind of turn it over to the universe. You know, I offer you these things that I do when I'm in this situation. When I'm going to sleep at night, my mind is racing. I will call in my angels and ask them to bring baskets, and I will visualize my like a team of angels flying to me with baskets in their hands, and I will put my worries, fears, concerns, whatever it is that's preventing me from being able to relax, I'll put it in their baskets, and then I will say, you know, I've done everything I can with this. Can you please, you know, take these away, or like, you know, handle them for me, because I don't know what else to do, and it's making me insane. And then I visualize them flying away with them, you know? And it usually helps. It usually helps me to relax. It usually helps me to feel better about it. You can also do guided meditations. You can also do yoga nidra, which you can just Google that on YouTube. Nidra is Nidra. It is like better for you than sleep. It's a pretty remarkable yoga nidra. But there's just this energy of, you know, with this forever on the bottom of the deck, it feels like we're putting too much emphasis on something. Nothing really is forever, you know, nothing is. And there are no like guarantees. And, you know, when we put this extreme energy on things, like this is a do or die situation, this is make or break, this is forever, this is, you know, then all we're doing is ratcheting up the vulnerability and discomfort that we feel. We're not helping anything in any way, and nothing is forever. Nothing. Even the things that we want to be forever are not forever. You know, this is a very transient place that we're in, this spiritual experience, being human beings on planet Earth. There's nothing about it that is permanent. So this just feels a bit like unnecessary pressure. And it may also a bit to me, like for some of you, you may be looking for someone to have a forever kind of situation with, or like a long-term relationship with. And there's almost something about really being focused on the forever part that intensifies pressure around the situation, to where it's kind of like, I'm just looking to meet cool and interesting people who are interested in talking about concepts, philosophies, art, science, you know, big concepts, rather than other people and, you know, superficial stuff, or maybe politics or something that I can't control, or maybe religion, or, you know, whatever it is. Like, this is what I'm looking for, you know, and know that naturally when you're moving in that direction, you probably will find someone that you have a deeper level connection with, that you may develop some type of intimate relationship with for years, right? So that may be a result, but it isn't something that you can like go into something looking for. In like, you can, right? But you can know that ultimately your goal is like commitment, or, you know, quote unquote forever, something that you can really unpack and stay in and live in and be in for a long, long time. Yes, that can be your goal, but it's like, what happens when we put the emphasis on forever is that we start trying to see that in everyone we meet. And there are very few people in our life that are going to last forever. In fact, I was reading something, I don't know, a while ago about this like 5-year rule. The majority of the people that you talk to a lot right now, you will not talk to in 5 years. You know, whether it's the person working the front desk at your gym, or your coffee barista, or your neighbor, or your coworker. You know, chances are your life will have changed, or their life will have changed, or life in general will have changed so much that those will not be your primary contacts 5 years from now. So what happens when we are, you know, quote unquote, looking for a spouse, we start to try to find like those qualities in people who might not be super good choices for this. You know what I mean? They may be avoidance, or they may be, you know, whatever, but we're looking for those qualities. So then we're finding those qualities because people always find what they're looking for, including you, you know, and then you start being like, oh, but this is my person. Oh, but this, when this person is emotionally unavailable, this person doesn't show up, this person is unreliable, etc., etc., etc. So it feels like a little bit like we're putting the cart before the horse, or, you know, we're putting ourselves into a bit of a downward spiral by kind of like either feeling like we aren't where we're supposed to be, or not trusting the universe, or putting what feels a little bit like unnecessary pressure on a situation, or on ourselves even, to like have manufacture create something. And this is like, it's all happening, it's all coming, just relax. So I don't know, you know, take it as it resonates. Oftentimes this energy actually pops up when we're close, you know, when we're about to hit it, we start to kind of panic. And sometimes we panic because intuitively we know it's about to come up. And there's all kinds of fear associated with actually getting what we want. I mean, it's crazy and bizarre, and it doesn't maybe necessarily make a lot of logical sense, but it's true. And it's, you know, a common human condition. Okay, you're getting long distance. I am so sorry. I check on you from afar. I wish I could take it back. Okay, you know, and on the bottom of the deck, you are the love of my life. Okay. Again, I feel, Pisces, I feel this energy around someone here who has not told you how they feel about you, or maybe had an opportunity to tell you how they feel about you and didn't, like chickened out. For some of you, this relationship is still going on. For others of you, you may be in a bit of a separation, but it doesn't feel, you know, it feels like kind of a situation where it's like, you don't know what you want. So, you know, that is a clear message to me. Like, I'm not messing with people who don't know what they want anymore. Or, you know, you're not ready for this, or you didn't step up when you had the chance. And so that must mean that you're not going to step up, or something like that. Okay. This isn't like I cheated on you, or I, you know, like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I've done something deceitful, or I've done something that, you know, is going to require a lot of healing to come back from. I'm not saying that it doesn't require healing to come back from, I don't know what I want, or, you know, I'm not ready for a commitment, or, you know, that still can be a pretty painful thing to deal with, right? And I'm not trying to take anything away from it, but it just feels like trust really hasn't been broken here, other than the trust of, okay, we're getting somewhere, or we're both on the same page, or something like that, which is kind of giving me, this is an assumption, you know what I mean? Or I don't know. It feels like this person really is on the same page with you, but like they haven't come to that conclusion themselves, or they're not ready to admit or acknowledge it themselves. You have on the bottom of the deck, you are the love of my life. Okay, and so, you know, there may be distance in this situation, like literal long distance, or this long distance can represent separation, like emotional, physical, mental distance. Like, I don't really know how you're doing. And I feel like this person is really sorry that they let you down, or that they caused you pain, or that they caused you any kind of like suffering. Or that they left you in a space where you had to process, was this real? Like, do you care about me? Like, all these things, because they weren't able to sort of stand up and be brave and like just say how they felt. They wish they could take it back. You know, obviously we can't. Like, that moment has come and gone. It's past. We can't, there's nothing we can do about it. But this person definitely hasn't let you go. I also, you know, I check on you from afar. I feel like this person is sort of in conversation, saying things to figure out, for some of you, like, if you have gotten over this, or if you like trust them again, or, you know, like if you still want what you wanted then, because I think they actually want it as well now. Like, I think this person with the, you are the love of my life, it's like, if they weren't willing to offer you a committed situation or something like that, I feel like it's actually kind of what they want now, rather than like they've come to that space where it's like, oh man, you know, for some of you, they may have even thought that they lost you for a period of time, or they may feel like they've lost you right now. And I feel like it's very unsettling. Like, it's very much like, oh no, you know, that's definitely not what I wanted, or that's definitely not okay. Like, yeah. All right, we have the Queen of Cups here with the King of Pentacles. And do you see they're both in the same kind of gesture here? They're both looking at this. They both have this light in their hands. He's actually looking up, and she's actually just looking at the light. Wow, with the Hermit. So I feel like this is like both of you are separately thinking, or both of you are separately focused on what you want. I mean, all three of these characters are focused on the light. You know, I feel, I'm just going to refer to the King of Pentacles as the masculine because the card is masculine, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? You know, it feels very much like the King of Pentacles is seeking something spiritually. You know, that his eyes are up in this, and we have the Hermit on the bottom of the deck. So it feels like this masculine is really trying to find trust, really trying to believe that this could be their wish fulfillment, or that they could actually have their wish fulfillment. They may have actually been hurt really badly, like possibly recently, or just at some point in their life. Like, the last time that they tried to be hopeful, the last time that they tried to believe that everything was going to be okay and that it was all going to work out for them, I think they may have it like it's coming to me like they may have gotten bitten. Like it may have not at all been what they were hoping for. And I do feel like this person is generally a pretty steady person. They may even like be very well off or very well established in their career, or just they may just be very grounded, centered, stable. But I also get the sense that they may have achieved a lot in their life, or there's something that they have to show for it, or they may even be like successful in other parts of their life. Which I think helps them to be confident and helps them to, sort of feel secure in taking risks. But like, I don't think this is someone who's like just naturally afraid, a risk aversion, the risk of avoidant. I don't know. Like in other places in their life, they've taken big risks and it's paid off. And so I don't think that they are naturally risk avoidant, but I do feel like this like once bitten, twice shy kind of energy. And they have returned to themselves and to this idea that they are very stable, very solid. Like they kind of have it all, or they have a lot, more than most. And maybe, they've sort of told themselves or gotten themselves to a place where it's kind of like, maybe love isn't for me, or maybe, in down the line, I'll be looking for that, or I'll be able to have it all, or I'll even find that. But I don't think it was something that they were looking for necessarily when they found you. I kind of feel like they weren't ever not looking for it. They weren't avoiding it. I keep getting this, like, they're not an avoider, okay? Not an avoider. But they, like, this isn't their natural kind of state. It's just, and they're quite capable of not being avoidant. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. There's a big difference here. This isn't someone who, this is the way they navigate life, is by avoiding things. This is someone who is willing to take a risk, can take risks, has taken risks, has been successful, does have confidence, is coming from a solid and secure place, okay? But it's almost like, how lucky can one person be? And that's kind of what they say to themselves, like, I'm lucky here, I'm lucky here, I'm lucky here. Do I really think that I could also then have that? This isn't a normal, like, person that we're talking about here on this channel usually. Do you know what I'm saying? It's, I feel like this is a kind of evolved person, okay? And with the Queen of Cups, the energy that I get from the Queen of Cups is like, I keep putting my tender little heart on the line, and I keep hoping and I keep thinking, okay, maybe this time, this is it. And it's kind of like, I just want a place to put my love. I just want, a place, a safe place to explore these emotions and these feelings, and to, possibly even be so fortunate to be loved in return. It's like, I'm not asking for so much. I'm just asking to love and be loved. I'm just looking for a place to plug in here. And so it's kind of like both of these people are really focused on their wish fulfillment, which is, I kind of feel like finding each other. They're both looking for a safe place to invest in another person. And it's almost with the Hermit here that, like, I get this sense of like if this was a movie, they'd both be looking at their lanterns and almost like run into each other. But the running into each other would have been completely choreographed by someone that we can't see. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but... Oh, whoops. Let me clarify this. Yeah, what you are seeking is seeking you. It's like, be still and know that I am. Like, what you are seeking is seeking you. Like, having that trust, having that faith, that, oh my God, my heart. Oh, Pisces. All things come in time, kind of energy. There's a lot of seriously spiritual energy. Like, I think I'm quoting the Bible and something else. Like, I don't know. But yeah, Rumi and the Bible. Yeah. So this is like a deeply spiritual energy. You could be dealing with someone who is very spiritual. And I feel like if you're on this channel, you're probably a very spiritual person. You see this, the Magician and the Love, the Two of Cups card is what this is. Again, it's just like, I just want a space to safely and healthfully love and be loved. And I am calling it in. I am manifesting it. You know, the Magician is the conduit, and the wand is pointing up into the ethers, and his literal body is, you know, bringing it down. You see, he's bringing it down. He himself, it's coming from him, through him. And look, it passes right over the heart chakra, right over the heart chakra. If you want to manifest something, manifest it with your heart space. But he's just literally calling it from the ethers into being. What you are seeking is seeking you. You are seeking this. You are manifesting this love, this true, pure, unconditional love, a safe place, a healthy place for you to put what you have to offer here. Love. This person, this makes them look like they are on more of a quest here. Than I kind of feel just from the King of Pentacles. So what I mean by that is, I wasn't really feeling that this person was really legitimately looking for love, but it is kind of like wherever they go, they are sort of hoping to find it. You know, they are somebody who does follow their heart. So if they feel led in a direction emotionally, I think they're likely to follow it, whether that's consciously or not. It feels as though they do sort of let their heart be their guide. And that may have been why, like, they've been hurt, you know? You have the Eight of Cups on the bottom of the deck. This is giving me the energy of, like, we're both saying goodbye to a period in our life that wasn't very satisfying. We invested a lot in it and kind of gave it everything we had, but ultimately we had to walk away. It didn't satisfy us. It was disappointing. Ultimately, even with all the investment and everything that we put into it, we realized that it wasn't ever going to pan out into the Nine of Cups or the Ten of Cups. Like, I was never actually going to be fulfilled in that space. And so I've walked away from it. So there is sort of this feeling with both energies where there is this like cycle completion that's happening, but it's happening because we made the choice or the decision to walk away from something that ultimately kind of was disappointing. Yeah, death. There was an ending. Yeah. Ace of Pentacles, right. So we're looking for a solid and stable new beginning here after, you know, something that was disappointing, something that never fully materialized into what we had hoped that it would be after we invested a significant amount in it. Okay, we've got the Knight of Wands on the bottom of the deck. We have the High Priestess. Wow, we have the Two of Wands and Justice. There's some kind of major decision here. So, okay, for some of you, with the Knight of Wands on the bottom of the deck and the Two of Wands and Justice and the High Priestess, this is giving me this vibe again that I got in the beginning of this story where, you know, someone may have come to a crossroads where they really needed to make a decision, or where there was a decision on the table. Like, do we take this to a higher level of commitment? Do we go all in? Do we invest in this connection? And it feels as though, with the Knight of Wands, this person kind of was like, I don't know how to say this, like, but like, it's kind of like, I'm going to turn my focus to something else that I'm passionate about, or something else that I care about. It is an avoidant response, but I don't feel this person is an avoidant person. It's like they came to the crossroads and they weren't ready. It's sort of like someone who sort of just does something, they react, they don't respond. They didn't stand there and weigh it out with justice. They kind of just reacted. And I mean, this is a major choice point, because you have the two from the High Priestess, the Two of Wands, and Justice. So this is all about a choice or a decision. And I feel, I'm going to clarify it, but I feel as though they sort of swerved, more so than like, I'm choosing a different path. Although it may have felt that way, and it may have sounded that way and stuff, I think for them, they got real close and felt super uncomfortable and swerved. With the King of Pentacles, this is not someone who takes things lightly. You know, this is someone who, it's like they're signing their name on the contract. You know, they have integrity. They're not saying, yeah, I'll commit, knowing that they could just ghost you tomorrow. That isn't who this person is. Again, there may be a spiritual element to this person where they do feel like they are answering to a higher level being, right? And so their word means something to them. And so even if it didn't feel super significant, or it didn't feel like, you know, it's kind of like, well, they could have just gone along with it even. Like, I'm getting that feeling, and that's not going to be for everyone, but like, why didn't they? You know what I mean? And especially because there's almost this energy of like, I know you like me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what this is, but, and it kind of feels like this person was like, I just need to get out of this uncomfortable situation right now, because I don't know what to do, kind of a thing. You know, I need time. Earth energy, or Pentacle energy, does move very slowly, but it is very intentional. And so it just kind of feels like this person swerved, like they tried to make a move that wasn't a decision, but it felt like one, possibly. Do you know what I'm saying? Or it's kind of like, to this person, what they did was buy themselves some more time. But how it was interpreted was, oh, okay, that's a major decision. Well, that's a statement. Okay. You know, and I will respond accordingly. You know, because with justice, it's about keeping the scales even, right? And so it's like, if you are not going to commit, then neither am I. And this could have been a complete withdrawal of energy with the High Priestess here. Like, oh, okay, I see you need some time to think about this. I don't, you know, or whatever. Like, this is a you with you problem. And the High Priestess can be a complete withdrawal. You know, you're not talking, and you're sort of going into your own self and into your own senses, into your own, you know, just kind of listening to your intuition, and your intuition is probably telling you, okay, this person doesn't know what they want, or they're not ready for this, or they came to the choice point and they didn't make the choice that you had hoped they would make, or the choice that represents that they're ready for what you have to offer, and you are trying to keep your heart safe. So they're not a good bet. So, you know, withdraw the energy, you know, keep things very balanced. Don't overgive. Don't give them more than they deserve here. You know, and if they're telling you I'm not ready for this with their actions, then believe them and respond accordingly with your actions. So you may have shut down and stopped talking to this person and really listened to your intuition and just known that they needed to work this out with themselves. And there wasn't a lot you could do to contribute to that. So, but you weren't going to also let yourself be dragged through the mud or put in a situation where your own heart, you know, was really going to be on the line. In an unsafe place, right? With a Knight of Wands. That's not a safe place for a heart to be. Wow. Oh my gosh. Wait, I gotta put my glasses on. Okay. Wow. You're going from somebody who approached a crossroads and let their mind kind of defeat them to somebody who is ready to make an ironclad decision. Like I said, with the King of Pentacles, when this person tells you, like, I'm all in, like, I'm showing up, I'm here, I'm committed to this, I'm putting my name on this, or you know what I mean? Like, I just got like, you can use my likeness. Okay, I don't know. I think that is some kind of advertising jargon. But there is an energy of, you know, making something permanent. It's like, well, then I go all in. So, you know, and that is, I bet that really is King of Pentacles energy. I have not ever really thought about it, but the way that it's coming through here is, you know, like someone who kind of shows up. And then when they commit, this is like, I intend to marry you. Like, that's what it means, you know, like this isn't like, okay, now we're boyfriend and girlfriend, or now we're like dating, or now we're like, you know, this is like, okay, we are on a track to long-term stability and success here. You have the 5 of Swords and the 4 of Wands clarifying this energy. And so it's like, when I do finally make the decision, justice, it's a contract. It's not a, you know, like, I'm going to have to earn my way out of this relationship. I can't just call you up one day and say, I don't think we should see each other anymore. That's not how this person works. And so where when they swerved, it may not have been in their mind as big as it was in your mind, you know, because what they told you there is, it's not safe. I'm not a safe place for you to put your heart. What they were doing was kind of buying themselves some more time to make some kind of decision, because it isn't just a, oh yeah, sure, we can try that. We could get to know each other. This is like, okay, like, you're someone I could actually see myself spending the rest of my life with, you know? This isn't small potatoes. And we see this again with the High Priestess being clarified by the 3 of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles. Like, this is, okay, we're going to share a vision, we're going to share a plan, and we're going to build it. And we're going to collaborate on this. We're doing this together, and this is our chance at, you know, something solid and stable for the rest of our life. And to even drive that point home even more, we have the Hierophant here on the bottom of the deck. And, you know, this is giving me, okay, once we commit to each other on this level, there's almost this, you see how the Hierophant is like sending off this dove? It's like the die is cast, you know, it's like written in something spiritual. Like we've passed through some kind of gate here. Huh. So we have the Seven of Wands coming out, and then we have the Seven of Swords, the Six of Swords, and the Devil. And with this Hierophant and these two sevens, there's clearly a deeply spiritual thing going on here. This is not just you and this person. There's like a very spiritual element that keeps, I mean, it's been threaded through all of this tarot reading. And part of it, I believe, is learning to trust. And when we really do trust in the divine, it does make it easier for us to trust everything in general. And because, you know, it does truly bring us to the space of everything happens for a reason. So the things that work out for me, and the things that don't. I recently, I had a friend who was calling me, and it just breaks my heart when anyone goes through things like this, but it was actually work related, and I don't know how to exactly explain this, but there was one spot available on a team that basically would be researching something that could end up being kind of important. Okay. That's how I'll say it. And she really wanted this. This is something she was actually very passionate about. And she was kind of uniquely qualified for it, and she really wanted it. But the person that had already been selected for the team was someone that she had had many problems working with in the past. And this person was just very known to be very low vibrational, and really would like talk about people badly, would like, I mean, just blatantly make stuff up. She was also like, her own personal life was pretty unhinged. It was kind of a mess, and it would sort of spill into work sometimes. But she sort of had impressed someone who worked in a different location that she was the right person somehow. And so she had been selected. So my friend really, really wanted this. And when she found out that this was the other person she would be closely working for, and this research project had a time length, a 6-month contract. So she said, you know, when I was talking to her about it at that point, she was like, oh, you know, it's 6 months. I can do anything for 6 months. Like, you know, I understand who she is, and I know how to navigate that space, and, you know, I can do it, you know, da. And I was like, well, it will be a draining experience. And so just bear that in mind. You know, you can't be with an energetically vampirical person to that degree and working that closely without it taking a toll on you. I mean, you know, you can protect yourself all you want, but you still have to work through things on a regular basis, like intensely. And so anyway, she was like, yeah, I can do it. Like, I really, really want this. And so a couple of weeks ago, she called me and said that they had chosen someone else for the position. And she was just devastated. She was like, you know, nothing against the person that got it, but I had so many more qualifications. And that person was relatively new to the scene, like hadn't even established themselves really. And, you know, here she has like all these unique qualifications, and, just there was all this stuff, and the person that's in charge of the thing, used to kind of reach out to her and ask her questions and sort of rely on her, and would have her speak in meetings and explain things and do different things. And just like all of a sudden just went absolutely silent. And, it's so clear to see that, this person, I don't know, may have like some kind of conflict inside about what happened, and is now like avoiding the entire situation or avoiding her because, maybe they know even at this point that they made the wrong decision. People can't fool you over a sustained period of time. They can fool you for a little while. That's why it's best to kind of date people for a long time, because, they will reveal themselves. You can only cover so much for so long. So it's eventually going to come to the surface. Anyway, I have no idea why I went through the process of telling you guys this story, except to say that when we have just utter and complete faith in the universe, we know that even though that looked like the perfect thing for us, even though it felt like the perfect thing for us, it probably wasn't. It probably wasn't meant for us, because if it was, it probably would have worked out for us. And, sometimes we think, right, well, I can work with this person, or I can deal with this, or I can put up with this for 6 months, or I can, I can do this, or I can do that. But yeah, you probably can, right? And in some situations, we probably do it all the time, but it does take a toll on you. And it does, it does put you in a situation where it could have a long-lasting impact on your reputation. In other words, if the other person sabotaged it because what they were really looking for was attention and validation, and so they were constantly going to the person above the project and saying, I'm putting in all these hours and all this work, and I figured this out, and it's taking credit for your work, and then basically throwing you under the bus, you could end up in a far worse situation. And not that we need to live our life like that or whatever, but I'm just saying, in the grander scheme of things, we have this tendency to be like, oh, I can deal with this. I can deal with this, and especially when it comes to relationships. And granted, an intimate relationship is different than a work relationship. But when we start to say things like that, it's usually kind of something that we need to look at, because our peace is so valuable. And when we say, I can deal with that, or we're putting our peace on the line. And that's going to spill over into every area of your life, when your peace shakes. So it really has to be something worth it for you to put yourself in that situation. And when a situation like that doesn't work out, I feel like the universe really, really, really is protecting you. And I told that to my friend, and, it literally, she was like, I got to get off the phone. Like, I'm too edgy. I'm too upset about this still. I don't know. I don't think I'm ready to talk about it. And like a week later, she called me and she's like, I'm sorry, that I couldn't have the conversation then, but now a week later, I know you're right. Like, I know that situation wasn't meant for me. And she was like, there's also like new talk about some new projects that are coming up that I'm actually more excited about. So, sometimes we just have to give a situation time, and we just have to let it play out. And we, hindsight is 20/20. Like, in some point in the future, right, when we look back on the thing, we can go, oh wow, thank God that didn't work out, because that didn't work out, this did work out, and because this worked out, then I met this person and I had this experience and this and this and this and this and this, you know. So there are these there is a sometimes there's a quiet perfection unfolding that we can't see at the time that we're living it forward. And we can get bogged down in the heaviness of, like my friend, she just couldn't move past, like, if it had been on merit that she didn't get the job, she would have been okay. But this girl that, you know, she'd worked with and had already had all these run-ins with and had already had to deal with on all these levels, and everybody knew who this person was except apparently this person who was in charge of making the decision, and blah 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 blah, you know, she would have been able to handle it. But because all those things were the way they were, she couldn't handle it. And so, you know, or it wasn't that she couldn't handle it, she could handle it, she was handling it just fine, but it was that was the sticking point. That was what she needed to process. That was what she needed to work through. And, you know, I told her the story of Dana Reeves, about how, you know, she took care of Christopher Reeves after he had become paralyzed from the neck down for years. And then he passed away, and it was just her and their young son, Will. He was like 14 years old. And after having taken care of Christopher Reeves, she got a cough and went to the doctor and had stage 4 lung cancer. And Oprah Winfrey asked her, and she died from it. But before she died, Oprah Winfrey said, in just short months, like it happened very quickly, Oprah Winfrey said to her, what have you learned from this? And she said that life isn't fair, and the best thing you can do is stop expecting it to be. And, you know, that's what I said to my friend in this situation. I get it. I understand why you're upset. I totally do. I've been in that situation, and it feels like crap, and it absolutely sucks. But, you know, that whole setup is based on this idea that life is fair, and it's not. There's evidence that it's not everywhere. Fair isn't in it. We have justice, and justice is all things balance out. It doesn't say nothing is ever going to be unfair. It says it will balance out. Whatever unfair thing happens to you will come back to you in a good way, in a positive way. As long as you stay your course, as long as you are true to yourself and you trust that in the universe, everything balances out. Wow. All of that being said, so we're on this spiritual journey, and with the Hierophant here, there is a spiritual gate that we're crossing through. There is this it feels like a test of bravery or a test of strength, to where we have the courage to sort of face something that we haven't wanted to face, or to take some kind of risk that we have kind of been avoiding. And so when I take this back to the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles, it's like, for the Queen of Cups, it's like trusting my heart with someone. With the King of Pentacles, it is, you know, committing kind of in a way, or investing, you know, agreeing to invest into the situation. And for that King of Pentacles, it feels like a very big deal. In order for us to go through the spiritual gate, right, we have the Seven of Wands, which is our own. This is turning something to where energy is blocked and we are being defensive into, I will fight for this. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to take whatever I have to take. Like, I'm going to do it. Seven of Wands. Then you have the Seven of Swords. So all the things within myself that make me want to sabotage this, or, you know, the places where I might have sabotaged it out of fear, I am instead facing the fear. You go from the Seven of Swords to the Six of Swords, which is those things that make me feel choppy, I sit with them until it's smooth sailing. I sit with them. I write it out on my way toward calm, toward peace, toward stability. And then you have the devil here. And the devil being on the bottom of the deck with the moon card, it is kind of this huge expression of fearing the unknown. And we can't know what is going to happen, right, until we get there, right? We can't, there's not going to be a guarantee that it is all going to work out, even if I'm brave, even if I study the ship for myself. And that is something that kind of I have to accept. Like, I can't, if I just have to fight for what I want. I just have to fight. Wow. Okay. My God, justice is what is clarifying that. I just have to know that it will all work out, that if I invest everything in this, and that if I put my best foot forward, and if I, navigate this the best I can and self-soothe myself and bring myself back to a place where I'm just responding and at peace and grounded and centered and moving from this space and perpetually making my decisions from this space, then it will all work out exactly as it's meant to, basically. The Seven of Wands is being clarified by the Eight of Swords, the King of Swords, the King of Swords. Oh, okay. I thought he was on a horse, but he's not. And the Ace of Pentacles. So the Eight of Swords are our limited belief system that cause us to protect ourselves. This is, I don't have faith. I don't completely trust the universe. I trust it to a certain degree, and then after that, it's a bridge too far. Like, that makes me too vulnerable. I don't like it. With the King of Swords on here, this is the champion of that energy. This is, I am stronger than those thoughts. I am stronger than those beliefs. I am the master of my thinking. My thinking isn't running my ship. I am running my thinking ship. I am in charge here. Like, I have control over my thinking mind. I'm not going to allow myself to think thoughts that aren't in alignment with my highest and best and what the outcome that I want and what I'm hoping for. And this is what is leading to the offer. So someone is literally overcoming within themselves their own fears and limitations in order to show up for this relationship. And it actually feels like both of you. And it actually feels like there are probably deeper feelings here than are being acknowledged or admitted or said out loud. And with the Seven of Wands, there's an agreement here to fight for this relationship, to fight for this connection. Wow, with the Three of Cups, which says abundance underneath it. So there's a celebration. So there's a decision and an offer, and feels like a coming together. And with this Justice here, I'm telling you, it's more like a contract. It's more like a contract. For some of you, this could actually be like marriage, or like moving in together, or like applying for a visa to like travel to see each other. Like, it could legitimately be some kind of contract, a marriage license, something like that. Really making it official. But I also get the sense, just with the King of Pentacles, that it's like, this is the level and degree to which this person honors their word. You know what I'm saying? If you're dealing with a water sign, you have secret, you have distant, and you have you changed my whole direction, and the changes are real. If you're dealing with a fire sign, you have stuck, you have controlling, you have my karmic story is ending, and you have angry. Okay, if you're dealing with an earth sign, you have I can't walk away, be patient with me, daydreaming, and I regret how I handled things before. Same messaging coming through again. Okay, if you're dealing with an air sign, doubting, I am still moved by you. You hit me out of nowhere, and trust me. All right, Pisces, this is what I have for you. Yeah, wow. I don't even know. This is what I have for you. I hope it helps. I hope it brings you some peace and clarity. If it does, let me know. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I do so love to hear from you. Until next time, guys, I send you off with all my very best. Always, always, always. Bye-bye.